Starting on November 1st, around 24 million Americans are going to start shopping for health insurance on the Affordable Care Act exchanges for next year. The government is currently shut down as Congress fights over whether or not to extend funding that help people pay for that coverage. If they don't reach a deal, all of those people are in for some serious sticker shock. So the original Obamacare passed in 2010, and it set up this system of income-based subsidies to help people buy their own insurance. A lot of people who they thought would sign up for insurance didn't because it was too expensive. So during the pandemic, they extended these subsidies to lower the price of insurance for almost everyone who bought. What happened was the enrollment started skyrocketing. It's basically doubled. Ironically, a lot of the new enrollment did not occur in states that Democrats govern. It happened in places that we think of as being more Republican. Sign-ups have more than tripled in a bunch of southern states. These are places where there were a lot of low-income people who worked in the kind of jobs that didn't offer them insurance. They are also states that decided not to expand Medicaid under Obamacare, and so that meant that those low-income people didn't have access to any other kind of government program to provide their insurance. If the subsidies don't get extended, on average, the amount people are going to pay for their insurance is going to double. But under the hood of that kind of average increase, there's actually quite a lot of variation. For really low-income people, imagine someone making about $22,000 a year. That person doesn't pay anything towards their insurance now. If the subsidies expire, that person will have to pay $66 a month. For someone earning around $35,000 a year, their premium will go up by $132. And for an older person who's making a little more, say around $65,000, their premiums are going to go up from a couple $100 a month to maybe as much as a couple $1,000s in the most expensive markets. Even though a lot of Republicans continue to dislike Obamacare, they have also come to realize that this is a policy that benefits a lot of the people they represent. There are quite a lot of Republican lawmakers who have publicly acknowledged that they would really like to have a solution to this problem to prevent their constituents from losing affordable health insurance. And I think that's why Democrats have chosen this issue. And I also think it's why there is a chance that there could be a bipartisan deal to extend this funding.
There's a lot of chatter right now about whose fault the government shutdown is. Some say it's the Democrats. Others say it's the Republicans. But the truth is, they both play a part. My name is Shanda, and welcome to In the Deep End. When Congress can't agree on a continuing resolution, that's the short-term funding bill that keeps the government open while they figure out a full year budget. Everything comes to a screeching halt, and when that happens, real people feel it. Federal workers stop getting paid. Families waiting for food stamps and WIC benefits face delays. Critical services slow down or stop, and people like me and you, regular working class Americans, get caught in the crossfire. Now, I've seen this up close and personal. I worked for the Department of Defense for 8 years, and during that time, I lived through 2 government shutdowns. I remember what it felt like. The fear, the uncertainty, the frustration. Paychecks stopped, people couldn't pay their bills, and morale hit rock bottom. Meanwhile, the people responsible for it, of course, still got paid. So when I say this isn't just politics, I mean it. I've lived it. Now let's talk about what's happening this time. The Republicans in Congress want to pass what they call a clean continuing resolution, meaning a short-term deal that keeps the government open without adding extra spending. The Democrats, on the other hand, are refusing to approve it unless it includes an extension of the Affordable Care Act subsidies. This federal assistance helps millions of families afford health insurance. Republicans say we have to cut spending. Democrats say not when those spending cuts hurt working families and their ability to keep health insurance. And because neither side will budge, the government shuts down. Let me share with you guys how this hits home for me. My youngest son just turned 26 this past July. But when we got the letter from the insurance company stating that he was aging out of our family's healthcare insurance, they gave him like an additional month. So I think it was like the end of August or September. No, I think it was the end of August. They were cutting him off due to aging out. And I have to tell you guys, trying to find coverage for him was hell. Absolute hell. Without the Affordable Care Act subsidies, the cheapest plan we found was $560 a month. I think the next most expensive was $699, and one that was nearly $740. That's not health insurance, guys. That is a very expensive car payment. After days and days of searching and phone calls and disappointments, good grief, I finally found a broker who helped us navigate the Affordable Care Act marketplace. Because of the subsidies, we got a plan for $179 a month. That covers his special medical needs. That made all the difference between being covered and being one emergency away from complete disaster. Now, I mean, keep in mind that I still have like a $500 deductible, and, I have to meet out-of-pocket expenses, all of those things, of course. But the fact that we have it and can use it in the event that he needs to be hospitalized or whatever the situation, okay? Now, imagine if those subsidies are cut or delayed because of this shutdown. That $179 a month plan jumps to $560 minimum for one person. That's what these political games mean in real life. Now, I'm not affected by WIC and food stamps, but I am very empathetic to the situation and for the people who are affected. And you know what? I know when we talk about food stamps and WIC, some people are already fixing their lips to say, oh, I'm glad they're getting cut off. They can't keep depending on the government forever. They need to get off their asses and get a job. We've all heard it a million times. Every single day, there's someone on social media talking like that. But that's not what this conversation is about in this moment. We're talking about keeping people from falling through the cracks. There's a difference between revamping a system and completely gutting it. There are ways to improve programs without yanking the rug out from under families overnight. But we've become so caught up in what we think people should or shouldn't get and what we think they should or shouldn't be doing that we've lost sight of humanity. People are hungry. Families are struggling. And cutting programs cold turkey doesn't create independence. It creates desperation and chaos. And yet, while the Republicans are telling us we need to cut spending, the reason our government is shut down is because they want a clean continuing resolution bill. Look where our money's going. The United States government is preparing to send up to $40 billion in support to Argentina to help stabilize their economy. The White House is building a $200 to $300 million ballroom, spending millions of dollars on military parades, hundreds of millions of dollars renovating a gifted jet into Air Force One. Yes, all while federal workers are going unpaid. All while Americans are being told to tighten our belts and prepare for the worst. So tell me, How does that make sense? They say we can't afford to help our own citizens keep health care or for the homeless to be housed in some capacity, but we can afford ballrooms, overseas bailouts, and military parades for optic purposes. This isn't about Democrats or Republicans. It's about priority spending. The Democrats are fighting to protect programs that help families to be able to afford health care so they don't go bankrupt. The Republicans are fighting to rein in government spending. And both are right. Both hold some validity to a degree. We do need financial responsibility, but we also need compassion and common sense for the American people. Because what's the point of responsible spending if Americans, citizens, can't afford to live? So maybe the real question is this. When are we going to stop pointing fingers and open our eyes, really open them, so we can see what's actually going on? While they distract us with headlines, hashtags, and truth social posts, they're cutting off our hands and feet and running away with the bread. While we're fighting each other, they're cashing the checks. And when the dust settles, it's always the same story. They feast and we starve. If that doesn't make you angry, you're not paying attention. No matter what color you are, no matter what political affiliation you belong to. We should all be very angry about what's happening to us here in this United States of America. Are you guys angry? You guys drop down in the comments and let me know how you feel about this. Whether you are a Republican or a Democrat or whatever the case. Both sides are important. Both points of view are important. Thank you guys for watching. Please don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.